like to talk about a post I made, I think it was yesterday or a couple days ago. And I posted this on my Facebook and my Instagram. And I got so many comments and so many private messages of women saying, oh my goodness, thank you for sharing. You know, I wanted to know this stuff. I didn't know this happened. I thought I was the only one. So I wanted to expand on what I made my post on because it seemed like it was something really, really interesting to you ladies. So that being said, what I want to talk about today is the side effects of weight loss that nobody prepares you for and that nobody tells you about, because it's not all sunshine and daisies and roses and all that, right? So the first thing that I want to talk about when it comes to, weight loss is the obvious, right? Physical changes. You are literally fully transforming yourself. You are burning off parts of your body, right? Fat is a part of you. You are losing parts of you as you go through this journey. So it's crazy mental, emotional, physical transformation. Now, when you're losing parts of you, your skin is still thinking they are there. Your skin's stretched to accommodate them, right? And so loose skin is a big issue that nobody talks about. Everybody's afraid of it. Everybody knows in the back of their mind it's there, but nobody really talks about the loose skin or what you can expect or how to fix it or things like that. So I want to touch on that. Now, I've personally lost over 70 pounds myself. 70 pounds. That is 2 toddlers, 3 toddlers. I don't know, how much does a toddler weigh? It's a lot of weight, either way. Most people don't gain 70 pounds when they get pregnant, right? So I gained more weight than I did if I was pregnant. And so my body expanded to hold that fat. And because of that, I got lots of stretch marks on my thighs, inner thighs, outer thighs, bum, my chest area. So I've got stretch marks because of it. And that's the side effect of gaining weight. Now, losing weight, going in the opposite direction, now that I've kind of done this damage by stretching out my skin, is I've got excess skin. As I lose weight, my skin adapted to hold 70 more pounds of me. So as I lose weight, my body has to adapt to not needing to hold that in anymore. And so along my journey, I've had to deal with some loose skin. So loose skin on my stomach, loose skin on my thighs, a little bit on my arms, my breasts as well. I've dealt with loose skin, and it's nothing crazy and it's nothing scary. Is it amazing? No. In a magical world, would we wave our wand and hope that it didn't happen? Of course. But what I want everybody to know listening is, will you experience loose skin? Potentially. Usually if you have 40 pounds or more to lose, that's when you'll experience some side effects of loose skin to some degree. But it's never as bad or as scary as you think, because I choose loose skin over being overweight any day. There is very, very few things on this earth that are more damaging and detrimental than being overweight. So I will take the loose skin, and I hope you would too. And I hope you don't be afraid of it. There's lots of non-surgical interventions you can do, things like collagen. That supplement will kind of improve your skin elasticity. You can do resistance training, so training where you're using weights. That's really great for optimizing your body's or your skin's natural ability to tighten. When you actually lift weight and build muscle, you'll actually fill out the skin as well. And I think it's not as scary as everybody thinks. And I think we need to talk about it more. We don't need to pretend like it's not going to happen or hope it doesn't happen. If you're losing weight, you stretched. You stretched somewhere you weren't supposed to be. And we can't erase that, unfortunately. We can't erase it unless you get surgery, but you can definitely improve it. And I promise you it's never as bad as you think. But that is one of the side effects that I've experienced personally. I know a lot of other fit queens have experienced. And I guarantee you everybody would choose that over staying overweight in the first place. So don't be afraid of it. Take it as it comes, and you adjust as you go. As long as you're losing weight while exercising, right? You're not just losing weight by eating less. You're actually working out as well, and not just cardio, but weights and resistance. Then you're fine, and you're doing pretty much all that you can at the moment. Okay? So that's one of the first side effects. The second side effect I talked about, and people were really shocked about this, was hair growth. Your body actually stimulates more hair growth, and usually not in the places you want it. So what the heck do I mean by this? So in order to lose weight, you have to be in a calorie deficit. So that means you've got to burn more in a day than you consume, right? That's the only way. Technically, that's considered starving, right? Like that's how your body views it. If you burn more than you consume in a day, your body is in starvation mode. Now, it's not a bad thing. It's not like it's damaging your metabolism. It's only harmful if you do it for an extended period of time. That's when it gets dangerous. So you don't really even have to worry about that starting off. However, if you have weight to lose, right, depending on how much, if you've got about 30 pounds or more weight to lose, you will be in a calorie deficit for a fair bit of time, right? You're going to be in a calorie deficit for a while. Not necessarily an extended period of time, but a while. And what our bodies are really good at doing is adapting. Our bodies are always trying to protect us and keep us safe and warm and make life easier for us. That's what our body's job is, literally making our life easier. And it's always trying to figure out and make connections to do that. And one of the ways that it thinks it's helping us is by growing more body hair during weight loss. Now, this doesn't happen to everybody. It usually only happens when you're in a prolonged period of weight loss, like I was, because I struggled for so long and I was so up and down. I couldn't figure it out and I tried everything under the sun. And what I noticed, it's not like I grew a beard. It's not like I had really dark hair growing everywhere. I wasn't the bearded lady. Don't worry about that. But I noticed just peach fuzz, right? Our body was like, oh, you're starving? Let me keep you warm. So it was producing more body hair. So a little peach fuzz. I had a little longer light hairs on my arms. I had lighter hair appear on my stomach, kind of keeping my organs warm. I guess that's kind of what it was doing. So that's a funny little side effect that I don't think I've personally heard anybody talk about before. But I definitely wasn't prepared for it. I was like, what the heck's going on? Why is this happening, right? But it wasn't that bad. And if I was warned about it, it wouldn't have fazed me like it did. So I hope this kind of reaches anybody. If anybody's noticing as well that they're getting a little extra peach fuzz, just means you're in a calorie deficit. That's all, and your body's protecting you. And it will definitely go away and slow down. So just so you're prepared, or you can just observe and see if that has been happening to you. Another thing that this is probably the most common concern I get when talking to women about losing weight, I hear, I don't want to lose my boobs, right? Or I don't want saggy boobs, right? That's the only thing, right? Dear Lord, please don't take away the boobies. But unfortunately, we can't decide where we lose the fat. If it comes from our chest first, it comes from our chest first. For me personally, my weight loss journey, I lose weight in my face first. Then I lose weight in my thighs. And then unfortunately, I lose weight in my breasts. And that's when they kind of shrink. So what I noticed along my breast transformation, I went from a 36G, like goddamn, to a 32C. So I went down a lot of cup sizes. So my boobs have been through a lot. My boobs have grown really, really big, really quickly because I gained a lot of weight quickly, and then they shrunk as well. So the skin was stretched. That's probably where I have most of my stretch marks, is on the tops of my breasts. And as you lose weight, it's fat, right? And your breasts are fat, so it's targeted there. You can't not target it. But what I do want to say is, it's not as bad as you think. Again, we always make things worse, just like the loose skin. It's never as bad as you think. You never get freaking crazy saggy or anything like that. It's just, you have to adapt to the fact that your boobs will potentially change shape, change size, and change texture. And what I mean by texture is your skin texture. I've found personally that my skin on my breast is very delicate. It's very delicate. It's very thin. It's been stretched and pulled so many times. It doesn't have a ton of integrity left. Does it look bad? No, but I can just feel it and I know it's there. And so what I do is I protect that skin more, right? I don't burn it in the sun. I make sure I massage the area to keep the blood flowing, get the elastin and collagen producing so it stays firm and youthful looking. And that's a side effect nobody tells you about. Hey, by the way, yes, your boobs are going to shrink. How much? I don't know, but be prepared. And it's not that bad, right? I would not trade it. Because why? Because now I get to sleep on my stomach without my breasts getting in the way. Now I don't have any back pain, upper back pain from my breasts pulling me forward for so many years. Now my bras fit more nice and not as, the straps don't pull as much, so I don't get, the indents of the bra straps. And I can wear cuter clothes, right? How many times, if you've ever had really big breasts, you know that it's a pain in the butt to find clothes that fit, right? Either they're really baggy and they make you look much bigger, or they're so tight it's inappropriate and you look like you're showing off when you're really not trying to. So now I get to wear cute clothes and anything I really want, and I fit into it now. So that's a plus side. So there's lots of plus sides that come along with these body changes. My goal here is not to freak you out or deter you from weight loss. It's to prepare you to accept all the amazing things that are going to happen and some of the things that we don't think about, just so you're prepared. Now, another thing I want to talk about in terms of one of the negative side effects of weight loss, not really negative, but negative at first, is you lose friends. Or I guess if you lost them, they weren't really friends. But you lose people, your circle gets smaller. And for me, this happened because when I was my heaviest, I realized that food was the biggest enjoyment in my life. Food is what I looked forward to. Food made me happier when I was happy. It made me feel good when I was sad. It was how I celebrated and rewarded myself. And it's what I looked forward to. I looked forward to eating dinner. I looked forward to getting home to the leftovers. I looked forward to going out to dinner on the weekends. So food was really a big sense of joy for me. And I had to rewire in my brain and realize that food is not and should not be my biggest source, or really any source of pleasure for that matter. It should be, it should be good feelings associated with food, but we shouldn't be calling it pleasure. So I had to rewire and find, what are my new joys in life? What can I get the same feeling of that I used to get eating and looking forward to food? And so as I went through that journey personally, I started to notice how everybody else in my circle, or a lot of people in my circle, had the same problem that I never even realized before. They looked forward to eating. They fantasized about food. They romanticized a meal, a cheat meal, right? Their biggest joy in life was food too. How they had fun, there was always food involved. When you think of how you like to have fun, there's usually always food involved. Movies, picnic, dinner, everything we like to do involves food. And so if I wanted to rewire that habit in me to where food, I wasn't an emotional slave to food anymore, and I actually was present in my life and I enjoyed my life and I found joy and excitement and fun and so many other simple things, I couldn't hang around with those people anymore because they brought back the old Madison. They brought that out in me. I get excited to go eat with them because all their plans revolved around eating. All their plans revolved around drinking. All their plans ended with a meal or involved a snack. There was nothing else to it. And how was I supposed to rewire myself and become better and stronger than my cravings and stronger than my impulses and learn to have willpower? I couldn't do that if I was around people who brought out the old me, because it was way too easy to slip back into the old me. It's way too easy. And so I slowly, I didn't cut them off, but I just, slowly faded away and didn't interact as much and then stopped going out. And as a result, I don't have such an emotional tie to food anymore. And I find joy in other things than eating. And unfortunately, the other people who are still kind of locked in that prison of food being their biggest source of joy throughout the week, I can't be involved in that anymore. And I'm sure you can relate in some way. There's somebody in your life who either shows love with food, right? We've all got those. Usually they're grandmas. They show their love with food. Or they always involve food in plans. And it's just, it's too hard to be around those people too often. And then, maybe it's your spouse that's like that. Of course, you can't cut them out, but you also have to be very aware of where you stand with them and that they are a bad influence. You do need to admit that there's people who are bad influences, and if you are not stronger than the old you yet. And if you spend time with people who bring out the old you, you are in trouble. And you are making this journey harder than it needs to be. Separate yourself, go into a cocoon, focus on you, do you, boo-boo, and then come out of that cocoon as a butterfly with more strength and the right habits to keep going. So be prepared to distance yourself from people if you haven't already, because you don't want that old you to stick around longer than it needs to. You don't want it to have the hold over you. So that's something I like to remind people, that you do not have to hold on to these people simply because you have a past. Do they fit in your future? The new future you want to create. Another side effect, another con side effect that I've noticed while I was losing weight is that people didn't like it. People didn't like it. People tried to self-sabotage me. And whether it was malicious intent or they didn't even notice they were doing it, I felt like I was being attacked. I felt like I was always on defense, having to defend myself, defend my choices, defend my journey, and defend this new version of me that was fighting really hard to become the permanent version of me. And I found that, the more I stood my ground, the more people challenged me because they didn't believe me, right? They're used to the old me. So they treat me like the old me. They want to hang out with the old me. They want to do things like the old me used to do things. And so I found that I was around more temptation. People pushed me more to have, one bite. You're starving yourself. This isn't healthy. You don't need to lose more weight. You look good already. Reward yourself. Start again tomorrow. I got a lot of that. And if I didn't make the choice to constantly reaffirm myself that no, my journey is important, it's life or death, whether or not I have a quality, fulfilled, satisfied life is hanging in the balance right now. If I didn't remind myself of that, I would have caved. Because people were trying to tear me down. When they see you rise up, they will want to tear you down because they don't know how you're doing it and they want to come with you, but they can't. So they want to keep you down here. And these are people you love. These are people who love you. They just haven't figured it out themselves and they can't stand it. It makes them so uncomfortable and insecure to see you be successful when they couldn't be. Because look around you. Name your top 5 people you spend the most time with. What's their weight situation? Are they overweight? Do they need to get healthier? Most of the time, the answer is yes. Being overweight and being obese is an epidemic, and it's contagious. It is contagious. Really listen to that. You are what you hang around. Be very careful because people, as much as they love you and they say they want the best for you, their actions will say different. So one of the side effects of weight loss that I really had to come to terms with is that people aren't going to understand you because they've never made it to this level. And people aren't going to like it. And you are going to have to learn to stand your ground because people are going to be pissed off. And if they're pissed off, as women, we don't like conflict, right? We like to please people. We like to say, okay, sure. Okay, I'll do that. Okay, that's fine. Yep, no, I don't want to upset you, right? But that not on this journey. Upset people, piss them off, show them you're serious. If you can't stick up for yourself, how do you expect other people to start treating you different? If you don't treat yourself different, other people will walk over you. And then you've given the power over to other people on whether or not you'll be successful. You've given it over to them, determining your success. So be very careful. Be very careful. I found that people would tempt me more while I was trying to lose weight because they subconsciously were uncomfortable with it. So be aware. Be aware. Now, the last side effect that I want to talk about is a really interesting one. And I mean, it's common sense, but being in it is something completely different. And that is this sense of body dysmorphia. Now, not necessarily diagnosed body dysmorphia, but I found that going from 70 pounds overweight to fit, to healthy, to showing off my body, to being comfortable in a bikini, I found that I still acted and had the automations like heavier me. So an example would be, if I was getting ready to go to a beach, I would still pack a big t-shirt to wear when I was comfortable in a bikini, but I forgot that I didn't need a cover up because I wanted to show off my body for once. I didn't want to hide it. I would still pack a cover up because I would just forget. It was so automatic in me. I would, every time I sit down, I would put a pillow over my lap to cover my stomach because I used to want to hide my rolls. I didn't want to show that, my love handles were hanging over my pants, but I don't have that anymore, but I still catch myself grabbing a pillow out of habit, out of automation. I find that, I'm still buying clothes for my old body. So when my old body, I wanted flowy clothes to hide my tummy, and I wanted long sleeves to hide my arms. And I find myself still going automatically to the flowy long sleeve tops. And it's not because I need them, and it's not because I want them. It's because I'm still thinking I'm that person and I'm that body. And it's a very crazy process. Number one, to actually physically transform. And number two, to mentally transform and become this new amazing version of you. But then the next step is sitting with that new version of you and being like, oh, this is actually me. Because nobody ever actually reaches that goal. 90% of women stay overweight their whole life despite trying. And I'm living proof that I've achieved this fantasy I had for 20 years, dreaming of having this body in this life. I actually achieved my fantasy, and it still feels like a fantasy because I haven't been in it long enough to be like, wow, this is really, really real. This is true. This is the new me. I haven't been this me longer than I was the old me. So it's very crazy to get used to. You still look at yourself and you forget that you're this new person. Even though you feel great and you act differently and you think different and you do different things and you have different habits, even though there are clear differences and you aren't the same person, there is still some type of attachment to that person that takes much, much longer to let go of and fully step into this new you. And I call it that type of body dysmorphia because I still do the same things out of habit that I used to do to hide my body before. Even in pictures, right? Think about when you were at your heaviest. How did you take pictures if you even wanted to take pictures, right? Well, you didn't like the down below angles. Hell no, because that shows our double chins, right? You don't like the front or the side angle because that pushes your arm against your body and then your arm looks extra big. Right? So I would always take pictures with my hand on my hip to the side with my chin up because I was always trying to camouflage. Everything I did was to camouflage and hide from the fact that I was overweight, I was unhappy, and I didn't want to face it. Everything I did, I was hiding from. And now I've carried those habits with me, just automatic ways of doing things that I'm trying to reprogram now. That's where I'm at. And it's really cool to be able to say I've made it here and that's my problem now. That's my problem. Actually consciously showing off my body, consciously wearing tighter clothes because I can, consciously putting the pillow down off my tummy because there ain't any rolls to hide anymore. And I'm happy with it. It's very interesting. And I don't think people are warned about that. Like once you get to your goal, then what? Why do so many people lose weight and then gain it back? It's because nobody says what's step 2. Because nobody thinks they actually going to achieve step 1, so they don't even plan ahead. And then when you do actually achieve step 1, because you found Fit Queen, right? You got to make sure you got step 2 in the works. Got to be prepared for it. You got to think it's possible. So that way you don't stop and fall off or talk yourself out of it or deal with this body dysmorphia for longer than you need to. It's a crazy process, but it's very interesting. So those are just some of the side effects, the not so glamorous side effects that I've experienced from weight loss. And I wanted to bring attention to those because I think it's important to talk about that. Nobody shares this not fun side, right? Loose skin, it's gonna happen. Body hair, we could be getting a little more of it. Breasts will change. You will lose friends. Your circle will get smaller. People will tempt you and try to sabotage you that you never expected. And you will have a hard time accepting that this is your new body. Really, really being comfortable and confident that it's not going anywhere. These are real side effects. Now, this took me 20, 30 minutes to talk about. I could talk for days about the awesome side effects of weight loss, the amazing, life-changing, mind-blowing side effects. But that could be for another day. Today, I just want to be real with you. Today, I want to tell you my body changed. It changed 99% for the better, 1% for the worse. I will take 99% any day for the feeling I have in my skin right now. I am confident and I am proud. I'm proud of all my stretch marks. They're my stripes of honor. I'm proud of my loose skin because it reminds me that I was able to do it. I didn't, if I could be born with a six-pack, I wouldn't want it. I wouldn't appreciate it. I need to know that I created this body. I have control over this body. I can do whatever I want with this body. I am the master of my body. And that only happens when you embrace this full transformation and you choose yes. You don't get to have one without the other. You choose all the good, the bad, and the ugly that comes with it. All of it. That goes for anything in life. You don't get to handpick what happens. If you're doing something, you do it and you take all of it. And so that's the message I want to leave you with today, ladies. Go all in. Go all in and be the master of your body. Don't look back. Take the bad with the good and the good with the great, because it is a wild ride. And we need to talk about how wild it is more often so we don't feel so alone on it. It's crazy. It's freaking crazy. The things we do to ourselves, the things we go through, the things our mind plays tricks on us with. It's just amazing. It really is going into your cocoon and coming out a butterfly. And it's okay to stay in your cocoon for a while. It's okay to not be happy with the cocoon you're in all the time. But keep trying and you will be a butterfly and you will feel like that butterfly. You will feel powerful and beautiful.